Yeah, no, I think I can make a car sound.
Okay, let's hear it.
What? I'm just getting started.
Oh, you've never driven a car in your life that makes that sound. I know they exist.
The Magentas had a particular purr that you never got to hear, okay?
Right? Yeah, the good old days.
What's happening, party people? Welcome to Punch Forward Party. My name is Daniel.
And I'm Sarah.
And we are trialing these videos where I teach Sarah how to play a board game that she hasn't played yet. In this case, I haven't played this game either.
Wow.
So we are learning it together, and it's going to be a good time. In this case, we are playing
Heat.
Pedal to the Metal, baby.
Let me just start by saying I think it's rather curious that you came up with this idea to teach me a board game as part of a video.
Why does that seem curious to you, Sarah?
I did mention in my pet peeve video that learning a new game is kind of like my number one board game pet peeve. So
That's right.
I think Daniel's making me do it on video so that I can't be quite as grumpy as I normally am.
I mean, there might be some truth to that.
Yeah. So, touche. And we have one more announcement from the...
That's natural to you? So, another thing that's happening in our lives that we want to update you on is...
We're having a baby!
We're having a baby! Pedapod number 3!
Yeah.
So, we're very excited about that. Alright, so... what we'd like to do with these videos is that you kind of get an inside scoop into what it's like to just come over for a game night with the Pedipaws, and we're just teaching you the game as if you're here. I wouldn't necessarily use this video as a strict rules tutorial. There's better channels out for that, but this gives you kind of the just feeling a vibe of being with fun people, hopefully.
Yeah.
Get ready
or a really grumpy person.
Get ready to play a new board game. And if you notice rules, goofs, and things, please put comments down below for me. And you know what? This is going to be a good time. So come along with us as we learn to play Heat, Pedal to the Metal.
Pedal to the metal, baby.
So, Sarah, I always start with a little bit of a thematic intro.
Yeah.
See how it goes. So, Sarah, in Heat, we are race car drivers. Molded to our machines.
Wow.
Careening around curves and turns. Rubber hitting pavement. The sun smoldering in the mid-afternoon heat. But we better be careful that our engines don't overheat or else we'll run into a tailspin and everybody's gonna die.
Is that what happens when your engine overheats?
Apparently in this game.
Okay.
And in this game, it's not about victory points.
Nice.
It's about crossing the finish line first.
Okay.
So there's a certain number of laps, and at the end of those laps, whoever has crossed the finish line first and or is further ahead when we both cross the finish line is the winner of the game.
Cool. Good
And
old.
so I'm very excited about this game because this is a Days of Wonder game. Days of Wonder has been known for many years for putting out one big box game a year that has largely been very well received. But the last few years, Days of Wonder has been kind of struggling a little bit. At least critically has been struggling a little bit. But with this game, with Heat, it's been getting rave reviews. And so it's kind of a back to form for Days of Wonder, and I'm excited to see if we like it.
Cool. I have a good feeling about it.
Yeah, you like the vibe already?
Yeah. I'll dedicate this video to my brother Will because he's into cars and racing.
That's right.
Yeah.
According to Will. Check him out on the YouTube.
Yeah.
So, in Heat, Pedal to the Metal, we are trying to be the fastest around the track. And basically what we're going to do is we have a deck of cards. And in this deck of cards, there are cards numbered 1 to 4.
Okay.
And there's 3 of each of those cards. Yeah, and then I was going to say, then we have a special card.
Sorry.
That's a 5.
I'm jumping ahead.
Yeah, so there's a few special cards that you get. There is an advanced rule set where there are these garage cards, and we would draft those cards. And so instead of the 3 standard special cards, we would get 3 kind of custom additional cards to add to our deck.
Okay.
But we're just playing the simple version to get us around the idea of the game. And they recommend that you start with the USA side. I said no, and I flipped the board over. And we are in Italy, baby. Italia. Italia.
Oh, no.
No? Okay. And so basically these cards are going to get us around the track. And so what you're going to do on your turn is, first off, you are going to choose what gear you are going to be in. So you start on first gear, and then you are able, with a free movement, to move up or down one gear slot.
Okay.
If you want to spend some heat, then you can move 2 spaces on the gear shift. And we have 6 heat cards that are given to us at the beginning of the game.
Okay.
And they're put kind of in the middle of our player board here. And we can put those in the discard pile to spend to do additional actions like gear shift. This action and the following action take place simultaneously. The 2 of us just do this on our own. And so we pick which place we're going to put our gear shift. And then we choose cards. And so the number of cards that we're going to play on a turn is based on the number on our gear shift. So either 1, 2, 3, or 4 cards will be played depending on which place we put our gear shift. And so then we'll have a hand of 7 cards to start with.
At random, you draw 7?
You draw 7.
Okay. Did you shuffle these?
Yeah.
Okay, so you draw 7.
Yeah, you draw 7 cards. And then based on where your gear shift is, you're going to choose that number of cards.
Okay.
And so say I just shift up to 2 instead of spending a heat. Then,
Wait, I thought you could start anywhere for free.
No, you start at 1.
Oh.
Because we're not going anywhere. Yeah. And then you can shift 1 space. And then I would choose which 2 cards I was going to play. And I would just put them face down in front of me like this. Okay, so then when we both do...
And pause.
So say I was at the second space, I would play 2 cards there. Once we both figured out how many cards we were playing, then in turn order, we would reveal and move our vehicles.
Okay.
And so in this case, I played a 3 and a 2, so I'm going to move 5 spaces. I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Don't you mean...
Sorry, my mistake. How's that for cards?
Nice. Why did you switch lanes?
Well, yeah, I was just about to say that. So there's a thick white line that changes sides throughout the track. And so when you go into a space, you're going to move your car closest to the thick white line. And then when you're determining who's in the lead, it's the player closest to the thick white line in all instances of things.
Okay. One question related to that. There's only 2 spots side by side. So what do you do when you're in like a 4-player game?
Yeah, so if there are more players playing and there was a situation where 2 spots on a space were taken up and then you were going to land on that space as well, then you would take up the spot closest to the thick line in the space behind.
But then do you move forward from the space you would have been on?
No. You get blocked.
Okay.
Because those cars are
Okay.
slow down. But cars don't block your way in a multiplayer game if you're going through. So you just count the space and keep going. But if you were to land on that space, then you would be held back. Good clarification, Sarah.
Thanks.
Then at that point, so those are mandatory actions. And on your player board, you're going to see that you have a bunch of actions listed. And there's a little like emergency like check engine symbol on the ones that you have to do. So those first 3 actions everyone does. And now the rest of the actions up until the final and 9th action are going to be optional.
I also have more questions. Should I save them to the end?
Always save your questions to the end, Sarah.
Okay, keep going. You're explaining it super well. I'm so interested in hearing more.
See, this is what happens. This is the respect I get around here. Hey, pick gear, choose the cards that you're going to play, reveal your cards, move your car. Then, if you are in last place, you get an additional boost of 1 space. So you just get just for being in the rear, you just get a little boop. Just get a little push. Boop, boop. Okay. Keep going. Just to help you out.
Okay.
Okay? And then we're going to be looking at cooling down your engine as well as boosting your engine.
Okay.
And so this has to do with, on the gear shift, you're going to see particular symbols. So you're going to see a blue kind of temperature gauge, and that's the cool down icon. And then you're going to see the plus symbol, which is the boost. And so if you're in a position where you have a boost symbol or a cool down symbol on your gear, then you can opt to do these actions. And so basically what that is, the boost action is you pay a heat. So you take a heat from your middle stack and you put it into your discard pile, and then you draw an additional card from the top of the deck. If it is not, there's cards with a little speed gauge, and there's cards without a speed gauge. If it does not have a speed gauge, then it gets discarded immediately, and you continue to draw until you get a card with speed gauge. And then you add that speed to your car.
Oh, you forgot to drive it.
Oh, sorry.
1, 2, 3.
My apologies. No. That's fine.
Okay.
You'll notice that we keep on putting heat into our discard pile. Eventually, you're going to shuffle your discard pile and make a deck again, and your hand is going to be gummed up with a bunch of heat.
Okay.
And you cannot play heat from your hand unless you use a cooldown symbol. In the base version of the game, you're typically only going to get that option if you are in first or second gear.
Oh, okay.
And so then if you kind of slow yourself down, your first or second gear, then you can discard heat from your hand using those cooldown symbols. So if I'm in first gear and I had 3 heat cards in my hand, I could discard... not discard. I would put them into my engine spot, back into the middle.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
you could do that for all 3, or...
Yeah, so if I was in first gear, I have 3 cooldown,
Oh.
and if I had 3 heat in my hand, I could put those heat cards back into my engine in the middle, and then I could use those and spend them again later on. Then you're going to look and you're going to see if you were directly beside or behind somebody. If you are, then you kind of drift, or what do they call it? What do they slipstream.
Is that a technical term?
I don't know, but you get to slipstream. And so you just move 2 spaces ahead.
Okay, what if you're all clumped together, though? Like, who gets to move first? Do you know? Turn order?
Yeah, so it's just on your turn you do all these things.
Okay.
And then you do all those things. Okay, so then slipstream, so you just, if you're behind or beside, you get to move 2 spaces.
You keep forgetting that. Thanks.
Yes, and then this is where the game really comes to life. Is that there's going to be moments around the track where you are going to hit these sort of speed signatures around corners.
Okay.
So this is how fast you are allowed to be going around these turns.
Okay.
And so you're going to check whenever you cross a line, you are then going to check if you made it safely around that corner or if something terrible has happened to you.
Right.
And so how you do that is you subtract the number on the speed corner from the number of the cards that you played to cross that line. And then the difference is the number of heat you have to spend if you're over. If you're over, then the difference is the number of heat you have to spend to make it around that corner.
Okay.
So if I'm going around a corner that has a 5 and I have 6 speed in my play area, then I'm going to have to pay 1 heat to make it around that corner safely. In the event that you don't have enough heat to spend to make it around the corner safely, you're going to spin out. And so you're going to pay as much heat as you possibly can, and then you are going to move your car back to immediately behind the line that you crossed, and then you are going to draw into your discard pile stress cards equal to the gear that you're in. So if you're in first or second gear, you're going to take 1 stress card. If you're in third and fourth gear, you're going to take 2 stress cards, and then you're going to gear down to first gear.
Okay. I feel like we need a little wipeout.
Perfect. All right, so we almost got the core rules down, but there are a few other things. So I'll just finish out kind of the things you can do in your turn. Then after you do the speed check, then you can discard cards from your hand that you don't want in your hand in your discard pile, and then you draw back up to 7 cards.
So how many? You had 6 left? 5 left.
Yeah, so I had 5 cards left.
Okay.
But now, here's the thing, party people. There are 2 cards that you cannot discard. You cannot discard heat, and you cannot discard stress.
But you can discard all your 1s if you wanted?
Yeah. And
Is there an advantage or disadvantage? You wanted it to be authentic.
Yeah, I do, exactly.
I interrupt you all the time.
Yeah, you do, it's true.
Is there an advantage, like you would run through your deck quicker if you're discarding?
Mm-hmm. But like, I think the strategy is in where you are in the track.
Okay.
And if you're needing to be going slower to go around a corner, and if you're going to need to go faster during a straightaway kind of thing.
Okay.
So I think that's what you're looking at. Is that kind of a thing. Now, these 2 cards, we've talked all about heat. We know kind of what heat does. It's kind of another currency, which is sort of cool. You spend it to do things, then it gums up your hand, and then you gotta do the cooldown action to get it out of there. But now, stress I haven't talked about. So stress is really neat. You can't discard it from your hand, and so you play it among the number of cards that you play. But then, similar to a boost, you're going to play cards from your deck. So it kind of recreates you're losing focus as you're going around the turn. Like things are getting fuzzy for you. And so it's an unpredictable speed that you're going to be going.
Okay.
So you play this card and then you play a card from the top of the deck on top of it. And so that card becomes 1 to 4. Okay.
First of all, why would you play that? If you have to? Like if you're out of other cards?
Well, you can't. Yeah, so you can't discard it. And so you have to play it at some point.
Okay.
So, yes. So the stress card recreates this feeling of kind of disorientation or just kind of this like, I'm trying to keep hold of the vehicle. And so there's an unpredictable element when you play your stress cards. And so you play the stress card, you draw a card from the top of your deck to replace the stress card, and then you're going to add that number of movement to that card.
What if you're drawing a card that's not a speed card?
Yeah, so if you're drawing cards that's not a speed card, same to the boost action, you just discard that card until you find a card with a speedometer symbol on it.
Okay.
So that's how that goes there. And then that's pretty much all we need to know.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy. So what we try and do here is we try and just kind of play through like a round or 2, kind of thing, get a feel for it, get our handle on the wheel of this car, and away we go. So what do you think, Sarah?
Also convenient that you would include playing a board game with me in the video. Just saying.
Listen, Linda.
I like it. Okay, start your engines.
Okay, you go first, Raystar.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh yeah, sorry. Simultaneously, we do the first 2 things of picking our gear and picking our cards. Okay, party people, we just finished 1 lap of a 3-lap race, but that's all we're going to play for now. Sarah, what are your initial impressions of this game?
I really like it. I was pleasantly surprised. I think it's a really great game to introduce to people. I think we could even play it with our kids. Do you know what the player age suggestion
10.
is? Okay. I think kids younger than 10 could handle this.
Right.
Perhaps with modifications, like even taking out some of the cards. But yeah, I thought it was really simple, really easy to play. I just thought it has a cool theme and aesthetic.
Yeah, so I was really getting a lot of Jamaica vibes with this. It plays up to 6 as well, which is really great for that. But I think it's simpler than Jamaica.
Yeah.
So this is almost like a more kind of surefire hit in terms of, getting this play with people who are new to gaming, and there's a few difficult concepts with just like the optional actions during a turn might kind of mess with some people's brains a little bit if they're not used to that kind of thing. But the main kind of choice of, am I going to gear up? Am I going to gear down? How many cards am I going to play on my turn? How am I going to kind of use my heat or not use my heat? Fun decisions in like a short space.
Yeah, I actually really liked the turns for that reason. Because I think if you were just trying to get around the track as fast as possible, it would get a little dull or something, like just always playing your highest cards and then trying to like draw more cards as quickly as possible. But yeah, that tension was really interesting.
Yeah, the first little bit, I was kind of like, oh, I felt like restricted by the turns and stuff. But then we got this big straightaway, and so just the dichotomy between kind of needing to slow down, wondering if I should, kind of opening up the engines. It's a good feeling. Like the theme is very much. This is a theme-rich game.
Yeah, they did a good job of incorporating the theme. Yeah, so I really liked it. I am excited to play it again and to play it with more players for sure. Yeah. For
sure. Okay, so that's thumbs up from us from our little initial half of a play of Heat Pedal to the Metal. So party people, if you enjoyed this style of video, if you like what we were up to here, like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below, tell us if you've played Heat yet and what you think of it. And until next time, party people,
have the best day.